further presentation of the campus and the university to the Janssen interests, we were able to identify 125 additional acres in a very attractive location. What then to do with the 40 acres? And unfortunately, it was in the area of highway development, and it rose in value from $200,000 to $600,000. And we were able to find a buyer, a Penn State alumnus by the name of Urban Cohen. And with that amount of money, we were able to purchase the 125 acres of the Henry Janssen land. And with that, we were able to start planning and development of the first phase of campus facilities on the new location. That entailed building the Janssen building with the help of state and federal funds. It enabled us to preserve the $800,000 of the financial campaign for the second building, the student center. And beyond that came some additional state help, enabling us to develop the library. The fourth building, having to do with the community center, now known as the Beaver Community Center, was the result of a second capital campaign. One of my cherished memories has to do with the transfer of the Janssen homestead to the university as a gift of Helen Janssen Wetzel. She was, you might say, the matriarch of the family at that particular time. This property of 25 acres and a beautiful stone home and a converted barn into a social center was something that people wondered about for 3 or 4 years prior to any action on her part to do something about it. And this all began in direct relationship with the campus with a phone call from George Meng, her secretary of the Henry Janssen Foundation, saying, would you please, could you arrange to come over to the social area of the barn this morning? Mrs. Wetzel would like to talk with you about the property. I got over there post-haste and sat down with just the two of them in that small location near the fireplace. And she said very simply, I've come to the decision that I want to give this property to Penn State in memory of my mother and father. And I was so pleased to sit there and hear that I could hardly believe it was happening. Anyway, I had to say, thank you very much, Mrs. Wetzel. It is not my authority to accept this. I will have to submit this to University Park, to the president of the university, and action will have to be taken officially by the university trustees. And yet I said, thank you so much for thinking of Penn State. We weren't that sure what you were thinking about the disposal of this property. It might have gone to the county park. It might have gone to anything else but Penn State. But it fitted very nicely into the total development of the campus because it had been a corner of the area that still remained in doubt. Now it became part of the 105 acres originally, and the 25 acres added made it 130 acres complete. Another question though, this had been used as a personal property for the use of the family and their magnanimous generous use of it for the industry as well as the community. But it had no particular sewage. It had no particular, well, it was farm sewage, it was farm water, it was electrified by a local system. All of that had to be reconsidered in terms of converting it to an educational enterprise. And that meant another $500,000 had to be found somewhere to enable us to do this. Fortunately, some of the profit from the earlier sale of property and purchase of this property out here, the Janssen property, resulted in about $85,000 being useful toward that. And that did take care of the infrastructure and made it possible to begin thinking about using it as a part of the campus. But that was a most memorable experience in terms of her wanting the campus to have this property, and especially in memory of her parents. Incidentally, her parents, Henry Janssen, was not only an entrepreneur of great value to this whole community, but he also had education in mind as part of his desire for benefits of the operation of the mills and the property.